How to shotgun effectively and close gaps. So in this so-called meta, you guys were asking me what's the best place to close the gap when you're shotgunning and get the people before they kill you or burn you down with their primary, and how to kind of just get more shotgun kills more efficiently. I've made shotgunning videos before, so hopefully this one's a little bit different. If it's not, I'm sorry. I'm just doing my best to explain this playstyle as best as I can. It's just kind of difficult for me to wrap my head around how to explain it, though I can play it pretty well, at least in my opinion. So the first big thing is using your primary. So no one's probably ever going to tell you this, but me and a select few other people. But primary use is imperative to shotgunning well, possibly even more so than your actual skill with the shotgun itself. You can't only use a weapon as close range as a shotgun and fly or hop around a map and expect to get a ton of kills, at least against competent players. Your primary comes into play a lot more than you'd think, and it's part of what allows you to close the gap on people and finish people off that you've gotten weak. Generally, you can even use your primary to damage an enemy just below shields, duck into cover, then make a push, dealing the killing blow with your shotgun, and because they're already damaged, you don't need to be as close as you would to get the kill either, because they're already low, so your shotgun only has to do half of what it normally would, essentially. You can also use your primary to finish off an opponent you've damaged with your shotgun, much like the body shot primary tactic you use with sniper rifles, though it's obviously not as ideal because you are in close quarters in these situations usually, but you definitely can do it. It's better to burn down with primary than shotgun, or just shotgun flat out. The next thing I want to talk about is movement. So I've talked a lot about movement when shotgunning in the past again, but the basics are don't just run up at people. You want to use the cover around you to close the distance on people as much as possible and primary them until you get close. So as you're approaching people, use your AS Luna or Palindrome or whatever your primary is to burn them down a little bit and then make your final strike with your shotgun. There are moments you can obviously rush people with a shotgun, but don't ever do it outside of a room you're already in. Like, don't go from a room to another room to try and shotgun someone, even if you can see them, or across a room to shotgun somebody, if it's a big room. But always do it within a room, if that makes sense. So like in a enclosed space, never kind of just run across the map to try and shotgun someone. Even if your room it's great, even if it's kind of, it's not predictable, if you're sliding, jumping, whatever, you're still going to probably get killed because of the distance you have to run, and there's probably not much cover along that distance, or it's broken up to a point where you could get hit every time you run out of cover, or your push will be too slow because it is across the room, things like that. So just be sure that you have control of the situation when you're pushing, and do your best to do it within an enclosed space or an enclosed kind of medium to small room. Because if you push from room to room, decent players will normally catch you in your transition into the other room. Anyways, though, the next thing is aerial space. This is extremely imperative. Do your best to not slide to get initial shotgun kill. I know a lot of people slide to get their kills, but in my opinion, that's actually not the best way to do it. You're much harder to hit in primary down when jumping. Jumping also catches people off guard way more than sliding at them. Sliding is best used for chaining a kill after a jump kill, going from high to low positioning very quickly, or popping up from low to high to get a jump kill, if that makes sense. So generally only slide after your first kill. You definitely can get a sliding kill as your initial, but I try and do my best to jump if possible. If you're in kind of like the catwalks on Anomaly, you obviously can't really jump there to get a kill, at least as high as you would want to. So sliding is fine there. Just try and get people to come through doors and get them that way with your slide, but never slide head on. It's much better to jump head on if you have an approach that is head on. The next thing is radar. Radar awareness is also imperative to being a successful shotgunner and getting more than 1 or 2 kills per situation. You need to train your brain to judge how close someone is to you that's outside a room or doorway just by using your radar. If you're unsure or feel like you're being baited, back off, but realize you could do the same thing to them and try to bait the other person through to you. In terms of reading your radar to get people to come at you, realize how close they are to a doorway. This part is all about timing and experience, knowing if someone is pushing or not without even seeing them, things like that. I know it sounds really hard, but use your ears, listen for them floating or jumping or even them rushing in, and trust your instincts. I cannot stress this enough. This is all about timing and just kind of expecting when people are approaching you and as they're approaching and about to transition into your room, you need to slide out really fast, get the kill, and then duck back in or start chaining kills. You definitely don't want to slide out and the person still be a red block on your radar, but they're far enough away from you where they can still primary you down. That is definitely possible. So you kind of just have to practice this. It's kind of a trial and error kind of thing where you kind of just realize, oh, they're probably this close, and even you can still be wrong sometimes. It's just kind of like, it's luck, it's trial and error, and just kind of knowing how other players think, all put into one skill. So just practice that. That's the best I can tell you. The next thing is baiting people. This is probably the most advanced mental game skill to learn in Destiny, at least in terms of radar awareness. And it only exists because of the ridiculous radar as well in the game. You need to try and get people to enter a room with you by teasing them essentially with the radar, by showing yourself on it until you are a full red block, then hopping around the door or moving around the area. People will generally come through because they get impatient or feel like they can get the upper hand, or somebody else will be pushing them, so they don't really have a choice but to push it on you. But just realize that the aggressor on you never should have the upper hand. The defender always will or always should. As a defender or baiter, you always should have control of the situation when an enemy pushes you. Be aware though that in a team playlist, including threes, multiple people could push it on you, so do your best to multitask them, kind of hop around, move unnaturally, and try and get as many kills as possible. Along with this, do not get baited back. If you notice people are sitting just outside of a room from you and not pushing, odds are they're waiting for you to push through. I would just wait it out or push back. And generally, if you push it on these people, you will die so fast. If they are baiting you, you won't even know what happened unless the person severely messes up or you have just great movement going in on them. Which comes to the next topic, which is when to push anyways. So this is really stupid and it's a really high risk play, but you definitely can push on people baiting you and find success, but it is very risky and you have a very high chance of dying. But sometimes it's necessary if you're getting pushed from multiple directions. Do your best to slide or jump through doorways or choke points to get the upper hand, and never just run or sprint through, otherwise you will obviously die. Next thing in terms of team game modes is a shotgunner. Don't be the guy that just runs at the enemy team trying to get a bunch of kills. Notice when the enemy is distracted by your teammates and push in then, or wait for your snipers on your team to get a pick, at least in terms of trials. Then you can push in and cause some havoc with your shotguns, depending on the map, obviously. Shotguns are kind of a blitzkrieg kind of weapon in Destiny. They're good for chaining kills, they're good for getting quick team wipes, but they're not really great for extended battles. Your best option if a battle extends too long is to disengage, regain your health, and re-engage. Never prolong a shotgun battle, because the longer you try and fight someone with a shotgun, the higher chances are that someone else is going to approach you. The chances of you winning the battle drop and become kind of a 50-50 stalemate, whether you're going to win or lose depending on the enemy's skill level, and things like that. So try and just get quick kills, back off, and come back in as hard as possible. Back off and then rinse and repeat that tactic. Never just sit and just try and like wait for someone around the corner for too long. Try the baiting thing, but if it's not working out for probably more than like, I would say 3 to 4 seconds, but 4 seconds is even pushing it sometimes, then back off, re-engage from another location, and then act accordingly. So those are my little shotgun tips. I hope this video helped you guys out. If you have any more specific questions in terms of perks you should be using for other subclasses and stuff like that, or anything really, let me know in the comments below. But as always, I was the Wiggling Wolf, and I'll see you guys in the next one.